right. Welcome, everybody, to the SHSM Special Series. I am super excited to be joined by 4 wonderful guests today. From diverse backgrounds, we're going to get into different type of SHSM sectors. We're going to get advice. We're going to get some insights. It's going to be a good one. Thank you all for joining me if you're listening, and thank you to my guests for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
So I'm going to jump right in and ask if you all could spend a minute or so to start by introducing yourself and share a little bit about the SHSM program you're running or you're aspiring to run.
Awesome. I can go first. So I'm Bronagh. I'm the co-op lead here at our school and also the SHSM coordinator. So as a lead co-op teacher, I've been teaching for 2 years because that's how long we've had senior students in our very new school. And then that's the same amount of time for our SHSM program. So I kind of coordinate both of those that are currently and then the one that is incoming for the past 2 years. And then, that's kind of how long we've been running it.
Wow. And what's a fun fact about yourself, Bronagh?
A fun fact is I hated school. I don't know if it's a fun fact. I hated school when I was in school. So it's always fun to tell people that. And they're like, but you're a teacher. I'm like, you're correct. That is correct.
Change that. Yeah. Awesome. And if you want to popcorn it to someone else, it might be helpful.
Awesome. Natasha, do you want to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm Natasha. So I have been teaching for over 10 years, but similar to Bronagh, kind of joined SHSM at the start when coming to Elsie MacGill. I've never been a part of a SHSM before while I've worked at schools that have had them. And so the last couple of years, with just having senior students, I've kind of been involved, and I'm part of the health and fitness leadership SHSM program here. I normally teach food and nutrition though. So I like part of the health and kind of like wellness aspect, but I teach the food and nutrition courses here. So.
You want to popcorn it? Someone else?
Yeah, Kaitlyn, go ahead.
Ooh. Hello. My name's Kaitlyn. I have been teaching for about 6 years, I think. Yeah. And I have been at Elsie MacGill for the last couple of years. Mostly social sciences and law is generally what I teach. Unlike Bronagh, I love school. I'm like such a typical nerd. Like I was like, how do I stay in school longer? And I think that's why I became a teacher. But no, I love education. So yes, I'm going to popcorn it to Itty now.
Thank you. I'm Itty Gupta, and I've been at Elsie MacGill almost since it started. So we are a new school. You can get it from that. And as Bronagh mentioned, yes, I did not hate school, but I did not love the master's side of my schooling. Having said that, I also want to mention that I'm a doctorate in physics. I teach physics at Elsie MacGill. And that's my specialty. Unhealthy habit, but I love experimenting with things. And probably that's why I ended up in SHSM. So I love it though. I'm not saying I don't love it. I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I was really bad at physics in school, so I don't think I'll do very well in your class, E. But you know what? We'll get there one way or the other. Thank you all for that wonderful introduction. To sort of set the stage a little bit, I'm curious to know in terms of students. So I know you mentioned it's a new school. How many students, whether it's a percent of the total population or just a number, how many do you usually see apply to the SHSM program at the school?
I'll jump in here. So I know for the health and fitness leadership, we've actually been pretty consistent over the last couple of years that we've had the program. And we look at about roughly 30 students per year that have been applying for the program. I know it's different for every program, and kind of like as we've introduced more programs, that number has kind of fluctuated and changed. I'm not exactly sure what the percentage of our overall population of that is, because being a new school, we've slowly increased our population each year, because our school only started at with grade 9s. So those grade 9 students have always been our senior students because they were the grade that went through all 4 years. And they're a very small cohort. So there's only about 130 of them that will be graduating this year. So we've kind of seen like an increase in our overall student population over the years, but roughly for the health and fitness leadership, we're looking at about 30 students per year that apply.
Wonderful. And, I think it's very interesting because, as you mentioned, every school's different, every program is different as well in terms of what we see, student numbers and sort of, what I find is like if there's, if their friends are applying and if there's something exciting to look forward to, they're like, okay, I want into it, count me in. So it's one of those things where the more, for lack of a better word, hype you could create around it, the better the program does in a lot of ways in terms of numbers as well. And even though I know we're early, one of the things I was curious about, because you have different SHSMs, what trends are you seeing in terms of students wanting to do certain things? Are there specific skills that they're more keen to learn? Are there specific things that they're more passionate about or interested in at Elsie MacGill?
Can I jump in on that a little? And then probably others can join in. Because I am involved with the Sustainable Energy Engineering SHSM. So most of the focus of my talk right now would be engineering and sustainability. So kids have been interested in civil engineering. They were interested in civil engineering before as well, but now they look at the sustainability lens of it. So now they want to make buildings which are sustainable. So when they go out for trips, they're looking from that perspective. They are also interested in tech courses, mechatronics. They're interested in mechanical engineering, and they're interested in computer science engineering. However, I want to stress Elsie MacGill is a sustainable school. That's one of the fundamentals of our school. And we do see that that perspective coming into students' career choices as they go through SHSM in the 2 years.
Very cool. Bronagh, go ahead.
And just to give some context to kind of how we've created, because you asked about kind of student interest and what they want to learn. When we were starting these programs, the first thing we did was get student interest. We did a survey across all the would have been seniors or incoming senior groups to see what kind of areas that they're interested in. And these were our health and our engineering were our two top ones. That's why we developed those two first. And then the kind of social justice law was the other area. So that's kind of where we've come to these three conclusions with. And the reason that we went in kind of following the students lead with what they're kind of interested in was we were going to do those options. They're good options. But then the way that we developed those programs was we tried to intentionally do them cross-curricular, because students come in, and Itty, you can attest to this. I want to do an engineering. And we said, great. What type? Or what do you want to do with it? I don't know, just engineering. Or I want to work in health. Oh, cool. Like what kind of health? Like what, do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a nutritionist? Do you want to work in kind of preventative health? Like, what does that look like? And then same with law, everyone said, I want to be a lawyer. Well, okay. What else do you want to do? So intentionally, we developed these programs to meet those interests, but then also to push their interests as well. So to say, okay, you're interested in this one thing. Now what? What else is out there? What are the other jobs? What are the other careers, skills that could help benefit you? And that's really what our programs from our side of. And I think that, I know the three of you would attest, I think that we've gotten the students to think a little bit more critically about not just the one job. This is the thing that I want to do. It's how are these all related and kind of that interconnectedness. So I feel like the students now are interested in that. They're interested in looking and learning from different people and trying different things and doing competitions and going to tour different schools for programs that they have never heard about in their whole life and would never think about going. And as soon as they're like, well, that's actually really cool. That's like going to, for example, like Conestoga, I think you guys went, Natasha, there was cool programs in that. And the students were just thinking, oh, well, I got to go to university and this is what I want to do. So I do think that the students are interested in exploring, whether they entered interested in exploring, but I think that they got there eventually.
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, sometimes I wish my teachers had done that for me. I think it's like the lack of, understanding. So one is like our responsibility to educate and help kids understand, okay, engineering means a million things. I remember once I was in a session even this was university. I said, oh yeah, I want to go into finance. And this guy looks at me like, okay, where to, buddy? There's a million things you could do within that realm. And I think a big part of it is exploration. You go, you learn, you try, you're like, yeah, not for me, or yes, for me. And you get excited. And that's the beauty of doing these kind of experiences. Kaitlyn, it looks like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of echo what Bronagh was saying. I mean, one of the reasons that we wanted to try to introduce the social justice and global citizenship SHSM is because of that very reason, is kids coming up and saying, well, I want to go into social sciences, or I want to do something in, the arts, but I have no idea what field or where are the jobs, right? And they don't know how to translate what they like and what they're enjoying into a career, which I think we can all agree is important, that you enjoy what you do, hopefully enough to do it for 30 years. So I think this is it's such a, I'm seeing just how valuable it is in opening up their minds to ways that they can live a life that they enjoy, but also do something that they work for with a passion. I think it gives them experience above all else.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, what I say is like, I do believe that everybody who is in education in that classroom, in that school, is there because they want to be, not because they have to be. And if we could pass that same feeling on to someone else, I think that's incredible. That's a good segue into my next question, which is, what type of different career pathways are the students looking to explore? I know we mentioned a little bit about it, but are there certain career pathways, maybe even being a TikTok influencer? I don't know, that's become popular amongst kids nowadays, but are there specific career pathways that you notice are becoming more and more prevalent with your group of students?
So what we initially see a lot with our student population is kind of like those key overarching big jobs, right? I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an engineer. That is what we're seeing. That's what we're hearing a lot from our students. But as Bronagh kind of mentioned, is they go into these programs to gain those experiences. And once we've designed them in a way to open their eyes to see there's more than just doctor, lawyer, engineering. And even if those are the career paths you want to take, that under those, there's a ton of different branches and avenues. And the way that we structured the health and fitness leadership was actually more of a focus on the leadership side of it and building those skills to be a good leader. So no matter what career path they decide to go into, they've developed a skill that's going to benefit them across the board. So yes, we definitely have students that are pursuing the life sciences. They're graduating this year. They're going off. They're pursuing the life sciences. They want to go the doctor route. But we also have students in our program that are going to be personal trainers and teachers and, a variety of different careers that is not just that starting point. And one of the things, Bronagh mentioned was our trip to Conestoga College. So a lot of our students do really have this mindset that university is kind of the ultimate pathway, and they don't realize how beneficial a college program can be and how much more hands-on experience they gain through those programs than just jumping from high school to university. And Conestoga, their health science programs are amazing, and they have state-of-the-art technology and equipment that kind of gets you into the field and practicing hands-on, which in a lot of times you wouldn't get necessarily at university until you're in those later years, where at the college programs, they start right from the very beginning. And so that's kind of our side in terms of the health and fitness leadership and what our students are interested in and kind of where they want to go and then what they learn from the program and where they kind of settle afterwards.
I think I'm going to add to that. All of that. And yes, I think for the engineering SHSM, being a physics teacher, most of those kids in my class come to my class. So having those experiences myself, I kind of lead them to it. So we take students for competitions. They go to McMaster Material Olympics. They build a dome before they go there. They have no knowledge of materials. What they learn in the process is, okay, cost reduction, space reduction, structures. So they're learning that. And we are having winners every year so far. So proud to say that. Then students are building structures. For example, wonder coasters. Again, physics, engineering, mixed up. So they're getting those opportunities. What I'm trying to say is to experience the engineering side of it. And when they go into a university or a college to visit them, they have those questions to ask. What does this involve? What can I do to get here? So they're already having that level of understanding. They already are at that stage that they're ready to cross over, to make that connection from the high school to the universities. We have a school in British Columbia. So we partner with them virtually, but they are a fully sustainable energy school. It's a full building in Simon Fraser University dedicated just to that. So still an ongoing connection, still trying to make that more firm. But again, listening to people from the industry and having that level already to kind of ask the right questions gives them that edge, I would say.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Go ahead, Kaitlyn.
And I can add on to that, because that's exactly it. It's about transferable skills. I think Itty's hit it there. It's about transferable skills. So they might come, I mean, for our program that we're introducing for next year, we have a lot of students who are like, I want to be a lawyer. Great. I can help you go on that university pathway to get you to law school and stuff. And we can pick your social science major or whatever it might be. But let's also try to get you open to other things. So then there's the idea of business. Like, well, what if you did entrepreneurship and business, and then you maybe you can see how law and business go together if you want to get into corporate law. Like there's, and then, oh, you really like human rights? Okay, let's talk about equity, and let's talk about human rights law and constitutional law and things like that. It opens up their minds. But then even if they don't want to go that traditional pathway, there are some incredible programs that allow you to be a paralegal, for example, or to go into law enforcement. It opens up, I think, their mind a little bit more as to what they can do with something that they love. And again, it's transferable skills. So even if they don't end up, if they pick one of our SHSMs and they don't necessarily go with the typical idea of what that SHSM applies for, they have now practical experience and transferable skills that they can apply to other careers and other job settings as well.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that's where it's heading towards, especially today. I mean, we look at different types of industries and how, those type of, I think a lot of people are saying the age of the generalist is coming back. And that's because with technology these days, niche skills are becoming more accessible to people. And so those transferable skills, being able to talk to people, being able to hold a conversation, being able to, lead people, all those things are very subtle things that we learn in life. Life teaches those to us. But I think if we could get the experiences there, get the exposure there, I think it can get kids some really good experiences. I love that. And when you think about your different things that you have done, it sounds like some awesome competitions which you've won. Credit to Itty. Probably the teacher does a lot more over there, has a big hand to play. But, in these different types of experiences, are there memorable moments that you always remember, always make you smile? I'd love for you to share some of those.
Let me take on that one. So again, as I mentioned about Material Olympics, I mean, you mentioned that teachers have a lot to do. I would differ there. Yeah. We give our students opportunities and they run with it. So that's the kind of student population that we have in our building. And there's a time when you have to say, no, that's enough for now. Yeah. So yes, Material Olympics, we won 2 competitions, 2 out of 4 major competitions at McMaster University last year. So sitting in the crowd as being a teacher is very proud. I mean, I don't know what we get out of it, but that's our tonic to kind of keep going. This year, we won the first major competition, which was Domes Day, where they actually had to make a dome and had to pass that stress test in McMaster University. So we won that. Two of our student projects, one at the Halton Generation Green Conference. And the idea was simple, like sustainable, how to make your community sustainable. So like a composter in the school, Natasha, for your room, right? To compost everything that we have leftovers. And then like thinking about air, like we see a big mess of cars every morning and every afternoon outside the school, right? So coming up with that idea of like a pool, like a Uber pool for school. So we do hope to implement all these ideas in the school. And then there was one more idea I want to mention. I don't want to take others' time. Is our school won third place at the Samsung competition this year. And these kids had, like, this is a nationwide competition. So kids had the idea of making kinetic plates. So they use kinetic energy to convert that into usable electrical energy. So all those moments when you're sitting in the audience, you're just, I don't know, it's overwhelmingly happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that kind of has stood out to me was this idea of our greenhouses that we developed. So we got some extra funding, and actually the sustainable engineering and the health and fitness leadership groups actually came together to develop these greenhouses and like what they would be used for. And it was part of one of the SHSM requirements, which is their like ICE challenge. So it's a proposed real world problem. And then the students have a day where they have to kind of like solve the problem through like some sort of initiative. And then at the end, they have to like pitch and present what their like solution to the problem was. And it was amazing to see how like two very different SHSM programs were actually able to come together to create these greenhouses, and they are currently being built at our school. So the fact that they've actually come to fruition and the students have been able to see that they were proposed a challenge, they came up with solutions, and their solutions are actually being implemented here at the school that they can see. And some of them are even a part of the building and the construction of them, which has been really, really awesome. So I would say like that's kind of one of the biggest highlights for me, is when students are able to see that what they're doing, what they're working on, what solutions they're coming up with are then actually being implemented. Because a lot of the times, you know, they might work on a project and they might do something and have this wonderful idea, but then it never comes to fruition. And I think just taking that extra step forward is what really grabs student attention to see like, oh, what I'm doing actually matters, and what I'm doing can be applied in the real world outside of school, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I love over there, Bronagh, just one of the things I want to mention that I'm just seeing, you know, the fact that the four of you are here together, the best schools that run SHSM programs are those that cross-collaborate. That is something I have seen when you mix the power of your different SHSM programs, when you know, we did one with health and business, and there's so much to complement over there, right? And I think it's those type of programs that end up succeeding a lot, because it's a shared sort of vision towards helping students reach a certain goal versus doing it in isolation, that, oh, you're completely different than us and we're going to do our thing. I think what I'm seeing here is wonderful. Bronagh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of jump off Natasha about kind of the best thing. There has been lots of them. But I think that for me, the green huts, they're huts. We're doing huts now. The green huts are something that has been a little baby of mine that I never thought I would ever take on, because I am no longer not building, not engineering focused. I'm not all the things that you would think you would need. But as a co-op teacher, the ability with the SHSM to use the DCO co-op course, the standalone course, in conjunction with SHSM and having admin support that has been like the best thing, because I have students who are doing not typical placements because they're in SHSM. They have that flexibility because it is a requirement to do, And the way that I use DCO for some of my students is I do it as a project-based co-op. So those green huts that Natasha is talking about were 2 separate groups of students. So the first group thought of it, designed it, pitched it, ran our SPE, and then the rest of the SHSMs had to figure out how to actually do this thing. And then this group I have right now, they're building it. So they had to execute the design of their previous co-op students, execute the design, and they're finished. They're literally putting the roof up today on the second hut. And then next semester, we'll be using that DCO model to automate that. So thinking about the engineering side of the computer science that I know absolutely nothing about. The kids come to me and they say, this is the kind of thing I want to do. This is what's happening. I'm like, cool, that sounds super stressful. I don't know how to help you figure it out. So to me, seeing those students kind of take on that critical thinking role and having the flexibility with them to work on those DCO courses and think about it outside the box has been great. Because as a co-op teacher, I've done all I love co-op. I think every kid should take it, and that's how you do it with SHSM. But having that ability, that extra layer to develop something even more, this kind of innovation projects, and having kids who are keen to do it has been the most valuable thing for me. And then like Natasha's saying, it's in the tech, like it's outside. I go there every day and I push them when we push them to do it, but they like it, right? So even though we have 2 project managers this semester, we had 4 last semester, but those project managers are managing a group of 10 SHSM students right now to build a hut. So that uniqueness and the SHSM allows that, right? And I guarantee you, Kaitlyn, we're going to be doing a lot of those type of things for your program is the favorite part of me, because I see the kids go be like, I could have done that. I'm like, you could have, but instead you did something else, which was just as valuable, but you could have done another thing as well. So for me, that was the biggest takeaway. That's the biggest kind of highlight right now. And I hope to continue to explore that beast of a course.
Well, I love that. And I haven't even heard that before, Bronagh. I think it's something that a lot of schools can learn from, right? Is how do you take the experiences that you're doing in SHSM and propel them towards even becoming into larger co-op experiences for your students? Because I know that is something a lot of schools struggle with, is co-op. And then the co-op requirement seems to be the tough part to get through. And I think that's a very intelligent and meaningful way for kids to get experiences that connect the 2 worlds very well together. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
What I have realized is that implementing a new SHSM program is difficult. It's not something that, you do it out of the goodness of your heart. There's a lot of work that goes into it. What advice would you have for teachers that are so excited, but they don't have a SHSM at their school? They're applying for one. They're new to it. What advice would you give them if you could go back in time and give your younger self an advice when you were first starting the program, or you are starting the program today?
I would say definitely you need a team. We have learned very quickly that if you only have 1 or 2 people that are going into this, it becomes really, really challenging because of all of the opportunities that we want to offer our students and that are part of the program, and then to be able to offer them. So one of the things that we did, and I know from my end anyways, that was really helpful, is having a group, and then within that group playing off of our strengths. So for myself, like, I'm type A. I am very organized. I keep my calendar. I have my to-do list, my checklist. I write everything down. So that organizational piece is where I know that is a strength for me. So I do all of the organizing for the intake interviews. I get the students to email me to sign up. And then I send here's the schedule of interviews to the other teachers to help out. And, we all pitch in that aspect. Other teachers that were involved were part of our phys ed department, where they're constantly planning field trips and sports events and the paperwork to go on these field trips. So that was a strength for them. So that's what they do. And they go on the field trips, and I don't go on as many because, I'm doing other things, or, I teach cooking. So every week we have food labs. So it's a little bit harder for me to leave during the week to go on a field trip because I need to be in the kitchen with my students cooking. So having a team and playing off of your strength is definitely very valuable in starting and building a SHSM program. And making sure that you're really passionate and or interested in it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a passion, but even just interest, right? Because the second a teacher is not interested in it, then it feels like more work and it feels like a bigger job and a bigger task, and it becomes a lot harder. So, just finding those people and making sure that you have a group that is willing to work together and play off strengths, I think is really important.
I think I'm going to say 100% that, but I call that first portion that Natasha mentioned at proactively recruit your team. So, the people that, I don't know, it's important to work with people who share the passion, who want to work. And absolutely, I mean, you need to work to your strengths, because over a period of time, you realize that. And because you realize that over a period of time, I would say it's a roller coaster journey. So there are no rights or wrongs. Mistakes are going to happen. It's okay. We learn from them and we go along. So that's what I would say.
I just recently, I guess, went through this for the last year, and I would say you need your own Bronagh. That's what you need. You need a Bronagh who's going to guide you through it. And it's that team aspect. But honestly, Bronagh is an incredible leader, and I think we all owe that to her as well. But there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of just learning from each other's experiences. And I mean, really, you get to build a cool program from, I guess, your mind. So it has to, I think, also reflect your students. Myself and another teacher initially were talking about this as like we feel like we need something for social science, business, like something to fill that space. And it came from the students. So I think knowing that you have the student interest is really important. And then working with the amazing team that you already have in your school to like build off of each other's ideas. I've already been speaking with our other SHSMs, and we had some some of the other teams, and had some cool ideas about trying to collaborate on certain field trips, for example, so that we can bring all of our kids together. But it shows cross-curricular learning, so like, why wouldn't we, right? I mean, that's, I think, the point of a SHSM. So yeah.
One thing I would just mention is the team that you're building, make sure that you include your co-op teacher, because they can help with a lot of the things that are going to be struggles, like the community partners, the networking, the placements that are going to come to them anyways. And then not to say you need a Bronagh, but you need a person. You need like someone who is not at one program only. So this was advice I got from Joel at Beanstalk Creative, and he kind of basically told them, he's like, can you have a person? Like, can you have a person who will be the one to make the calls when you and your team are kind of spiraling and everyone's doing all the things to keep things going? And then so that's kind of the role that I play, as I kind of overarch between all three of them. But that allows me to know what's happening in all three. Right. So when I go and support and guidance to do course selection, when I go and do classroom visits, or when I have co-op students who aren't in a SHSM that should be, they should be referred to from me, because I know what's going on. I've done co-op in previous schools where I wasn't aware of what's going on in the SHSM programs. And I think about all those students who would have had opportunities to do the extra things because they were already doing the hardest part to complete, which was the co-op. So I think having that team, yes, for sure, Itty, think about who you're going to work with, right? And have those strengths played, like you're saying, Natasha, but like your guidance is your team. Your co-op teacher is your team. And really, one of your admins should be your team as well. Like, you need people to help make this happen. And I think that that's helpful. And that team will change, right? We're losing 2 of our team members this year based on school moves and all the fun things that happen in school politics. But the program's not folding now, because it's not just them, right? We're now tapping on, okay, well, this is what you offered us. Like, do you have anyone that you think would be a good fit? And they've referred us to other people to tap. So it's helpful in that sense, because we're not left high and dry, meaning the kids are left high and dry, and then you have kind of some weird fizzling out program at the end. I think that team is super important to have to be successful. And then, yeah, paperwork, it's a thing. Paperwork is a thing. So have a Natasha, have a type A paperwork person.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good balance between all of you from what it sounds like. And I love that. And I think to your point, it's I love that, because it's a team, it's about the school. It's not about one person. So if the person leaves, there goes the SHSM with them, it's more about we're a school, we're a team, this goes on, and we find someone. And then maybe new people that come and bring fresh perspectives and fresh ideas. And then it sort of, magnifies from there as well. I love that. I'm going to shift gears into a rapid fire round. I've got 3 questions. Each of you could pick an answer one, or more of you could jump in if you like. I'll shoot you a question. Feel free to respond to it in under a minute. The first one I have is, if you had a magic wand and you could solve any problem within the SHSM world, what would it be and why?
Are you telling us our names, or are we just going for
No,
it?
go for it. Whoever wants to answer, go for it.
Okay, I'll do the first 2. I'll do busing, because busing. And then second is co-op employers. Finding the right co-op employers, more mentors, having more people out there willing to train students, knowing that we get it. It's a lot to take on a student, but that impact that a co-op employer could have for any student, including SHSM students, is it's impactful throughout their whole journey, throughout their whole life. As a co-op student when I was in high school, it was important. And now I'm a co-op teacher. It's important. And I know that it's hard. And I know sometimes they push your buttons. I get it. But we need people. We don't have anything if we don't have those community partners and those employers. So those are my 2.
I'm going to give my 2 next. I want to have more tailored SPE experiences for the students. They take a lot of time to actually tailor for the needs of the students that we have, but I think they're even more impactful if we do them that way. This year, we were able to do that for the Sustainable Energy Engineering SHSM, and kids loved it. So the second one for me would be more and more relevant certifications for our programs, because most of them, if you go out, they are costly. So if they can be made more and more accessible for us, I think that will be just a cherry on the cake.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is like, our programs are very well funded. But what we've kind of seen across the board is that tools, equipment, things like that have become much more expensive. And so to really tailor experiences or tailor certifications and things like that, just like everything, more money would be awesome, because then we could buy those, more specialized tools and equipment and things that we could really use to amplify our programs.
Absolutely. Okay, sounds like you got all of them. Second question on the rapid fire. What specific activities would you most like to add when implementing those 5, required components of the SHSM program to help students get more out of this experience itself?
I would kind of tack on what Bronagh said, is like that co-op experience, and, finding partners where we could really hone in on student interest and, where they want to be placed. I think for what I see and what I hear with talking with students, well, I'm well aware that it is very difficult, but if a lot of our students want to be doctors, having more of them actually experience what it's like to be in a hospital and what that day-to-day looks like, I think would give them a better mindset of what that career path actually entails. And it's difficult because obviously with hospitals, there, a level of health and safety requirements that need to be met. And, not every doctor is going to want a student following them around when they're doing their rounds. And obviously they can't be going into surgeries and things like that. But I think it would be beneficial for them to see there are other avenues than just that kind of like the highest doctor route. And being able to actually experience what it's like, because so many of them kind of go into it a little bit blind, I would say, is that they have a perception of what it might be like, but they don't actually know because they haven't been in that field.
I think I can talk to that a little. I think this is continuing from what Bronagh and Natasha mentioned, I classify them as mentoring plus job shadowing, because mentoring is something I believe is very valuable, and job shadowing kind of follows it very closely. And being able to work with somebody that's sitting at the next level, that is at university or a college, helps, again, students think more deeply, more critically, and evaluate their choices that they are making right now. So just like for an example, we took a trip to nuclear reactor at the McMaster University, and there were so many students who were absolutely awed by what a nuclear reactor was and who all can go and work into that nuclear reactor. So those are the kind of like job shadowing and mentoring experiences that can help students, yes, with a project, but develop them more. So I would say more of those, adding those to what we already have is going to be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing, just kind of on a bigger scale, it's not necessarily for our specific programs, but just for kind of visibility in community and any sort of post-secondary pathway, I think that a little bit more on the value of these type of kind of extra things that students are doing in their high school career to allow that to translate from our little bubble of high school to other places. So I still today have so many conversations with people who work in college programs, who are working in Skills Ontario, and who work in like university programs that have no idea what SHSM is. And this is a thing. Like it's been a thing. It's currently is a thing. I think we need to get on how to promote this. And we're not going to go ministry all the things, but how to promote this properly to say that this is a pathway destination for every single student. Every single type of student could benefit from SHSM, because then I've had the conversations well, that's just for students who are super high academics. I'm like, what is super high academics? What is that, first of all? And second of all, like you're building transferable skills and experience. How come that's not every student? And I have students who are like, we have Itty in your program. There's a couple students who are literally going to be graduating high school next week and rolling right into an apprenticeship. And they're part of your program and have been going to the nuclear reactor, have been doing the domes competition, have been doing the things, right? So I think visibility and kind of awareness of what that could be. And then thinking about, I'm a student who did this for 2 years. There's a handful of, there's a 1-pager of people who offer scholarships and things like that for students with SHSM. Why not more, right? Like you're getting well-rounded students if they finish a SHSM program, more than someone who, not to say it's not valuable, that just does the normal traditional high school, but you're getting someone who's done an internship. You've done certifications, you've done training, you've done all the things. Why are we not recognizing that a little bit more? So I guess a visibility and kind of awareness from those different agencies would be the ask that I would love to see.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, and I think the kids do a lot to get through the program, and a bit more recognition never hurts, and a bit more benefit from that sense. The last one, the rapid fire, is, are there any resources that you wish existed but you haven't had a chance to see yet?
More planning time.
Kaitlyn, do you have any that you think you might want because you're starting a new program?
Planning time, yes. Because that application, like, you know, I'm up at like 2:00 in the morning completing, like, researching and looking at things, because I'm also teaching a full sketch, like a full complement, right? So and then having to look into research, book, and now that the application is done, now next year it's booking, finding certifications, finding the partnerships, and building on all of those things. That takes a lot of time. I would also say too, parent education. It goes along with what Bronagh was saying, that I think there's just not enough education out there. And we have been, I think, as a school, doing a good job at trying to show our students, hey, look at all the different pathways. Like, university is great. I mean, we all went to university, but like that is not the only pathway. And it really truly depends on what job. I love school. And like I said,
it all depends on what job you're trying to go for. This whole hierarchy thing needs to be dismantled. And we really need to focus in on what the student wants to do and give them the best path for them, not for somebody else. So I think that there needs to be more education. Planning time and education.
Love that.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that a little bit, and it kind of goes back to your previous question as well, is like when we're filling out the applications to have a SHSM program in a school that goes to the ministry for approval, part of the requirements for that application is that we do have pathways for all students, and that no matter if you plan on, graduating from high school with your diploma and going straight into the workforce, or if you want to do apprenticeship, or if you want to go to college, or if you want to go to university, as part of that, we have to plan accordingly and have classes and courses available for all students. And kind of going back to what Bronagh said is like, there seems to be this level or misconception that it's because it's more work, I'm using very hypothetically, that it's only for students who are highly academic, which again is not really a thing. And a lot of people I don't think really know that. And I would say one thing that Bronagh did really well is, along with a bunch of our students, is we actually planned a graduation dinner for our graduating class this year. And as part of that, we had a panel of recently graduated, either recently graduated from post-secondary or currently in post-secondary. And the students had opportunities to ask them questions, and they had opportunities to kind of like speak to their experiences and, that transition from high school to post-secondary and what that's like. And while that was something like we did, and by we, I mean Bronagh and the students who organized it, I didn't have part in that, but I think that is very valuable, right? And I don't see that very often. And I think more and more students, it's one thing for a teacher to stand up in, the front of the classroom and say, hey, this is what post-secondary is going to be like. And, you need to do this because next year it's going to be different and all of that. But actually hearing it from the people who are living it at that moment or who have recently lived that experience is so beneficial. And I think kind of that trickle down effect, like if more and more people can hear those stories and hear those experiences, then that's going to get word of mouth out about the programs. And then that's going to spread to the community and parents. And hopefully that would kind of be my wish, is that, as everyone said, more and more people become aware of what, how beneficial SHSM programs actually are, regardless of what pathway you plan on pursuing.
That's very well said. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's one of those programs that deserves to be known more than it is. And it will be, I think, with time as well. To close us off here, are there any things that you'd like to leave our listeners with, whether it's a piece of advice, whether it is how being a part of this program has helped you personally in your growth, anything that you'd like to share in terms of parting words for the listeners? Maybe we'll do a quick roundtable again, and if I could just pick, Kaitlyn, maybe I'll start with you to kick us off on this one, and then we could popcorn it off like how we started.
Sure. I love this idea of giving students, I don't know, I don't know how to really articulate it, but a sense of like importance and belonging in their education. I think that in education, we tend to have a clear hierarchy in certain fields and in certain spaces, and that needs to be dismantled. And that is systemically not okay. And it systemically advantages certain groups. And from an equity standpoint, I think that SHSM breaks barriers. I think that it offers opportunities to everyone. And that we need to see more of that in education. We don't see enough of it. So yeah, do a SHSM.
Do you want to pass it off to someone?
Yeah, let's jump over to Itty.
Okay. I think you summed up pretty amazingly. So I'm just going to add a little extra to it. I think SHSM personally, because you said personal growth and development, I'm going to touch that bit. I get joy out of seeing happiness on kids' faces. So that's my reason for being in it. And I love the fact that you give them anything and they just make something out of it.
Yeah.
So even though if you don't have a well-articulated idea, they're sure to make something out of it because they think their teacher has given them a problem that she knows. Half of the time, sure. But that's the best part of it. And innovations come out of it. I'm going to leave it at that.
Love it. Who would you pass it off to? There you go.
Sorry, my bad. Natasha.
Okay, I kind of assumed I was coming next. But yeah, I think, we're just probably going to be like super repetitive here, but it's a wonderful opportunity. I think more students should need to know about this or should know about it. I think it's a great way to even bring students together who might not normally work together. They might not necessarily always take the same classes or be part of the same clubs or sports activities at the school. So it's a great way to meet new people. It's a great opportunity to learn from other people. And, kind of like what Kaitlyn had said, so often school becomes a place where students don't have much say in their education. And while, some teachers will have those moments where students can have an opportunity to voice their opinions or help create something. SHSM is really that opportunity, right? We come together. I'm learning from the students are learning from me. We're coming together. We're going on these different outings and experiences and certifications where I never had those opportunities either. So even as a teacher, like I'm getting to experience these things firsthand as well. And it's really great to be able to open those doors for students. Bronagh?
Yeah, I think kind of two levels of this is professionally, I think that the team piece has helped me to build different connections within the school. As a co-op teacher, I could just very much be in my office and out in the road. And that's what I've been in previous schools. But this kind of grounds me in the people that we have in this building and the relationships with that. And with that as well, the relationships that SHSM allows you to build as an educator with students is very different than the classroom, right? You can have a horrible, rough one day in the classroom and the next day be on a bus going to like climb in the trees with students. And it's just, it's that balance, that humanness that I wanted in school that I only saw from this many people is these, like, we're human beings. You're a human being. Like, I get that there is a teacher role. I get that there's that hierarchy structurally, there is that. But I think that the relationships a program like this allows you to help build with your students is valuable. And just bringing it back to the fact that I said I hated school is I hated if someone couldn't tell me why I was doing something. And if I was saying, okay, do this assignment, well, and I said, why? And the answer was because that's what we're doing, I wouldn't do it. As a student, I wouldn't. And that's what I tell my students in co-op all the time is if you're ever questioning why I'm asking you to do something, please ask. I'm happy to tell you. And if I'm not justifying that, tell me. If it's not valuable, if you're not seeing that. And to me, the why am I doing the thing? SHSM helps with why am I doing the thing? It helps you make those connections between, okay, in physics, I'm doing this. And then in my tech class, I'm doing this. Or if in health or social science, I'm talking about how to do group dynamics. Why would I ever need to know group dynamics? I'm going into business. Well, you kind of do. You kind of need to know it. So I think that SHSM kind of helps tie in a little bit of why do we do the things we do in high school and as educators and as students, why do we do it? Well, these are the reasons why, right? Because things are interconnected. You need to have transferable skills and the opportunities, you need to take them. They're not going to be handed to you. You need to actively search for them. And SHSM helps guide students on how to do that, right? That's not an innate skill that a lot of students have. They would just expect to be like, what do you mean? Give me the thing. That's what I want. It's easy. Well, sometimes you got to chase the stuff. So I think that kind of helps for me, like professionally, that's like in my head, that's why we keep doing it. That's why I do it. It makes that connection for them. So.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, I think that's a wonderful note to end off on as well. And I think that to each one of you, thank you as well to put in the time and the effort to genuinely, I really believe that you're putting in work to build our future. And it's the most beautiful job in the world to me. So thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you to all listeners for tuning in. I could tell that you all run an awesome group of programs, and you all work very well together from what it sounds like. So thank you all for being on the show. Thank you for your time. This was wonderful. It was a joy to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.